Okay, so I'm on the water and I'm fully stacked on the 10 meter. So let's go and try to go big. Using the new EVO DLAB in a 10 meter. Let's see how it performs. This one definitely goes higher, but the first EVO DLAB is way more direct. So I hope you guys enjoyed the action on the old EVO DLAB versus the new EVO DLAB, and now we're gonna talk about the review. Hi guys, welcome to a brand new vlog from Jamie's Kite Life. Today we're at Noordwijk aan Zee. I'm gonna do some shooting with Kite Mana for the new EVO DLAB. They're gonna post a review of it, and yeah, I'm also gonna film some stuff. So yeah, enjoy this video. Okay, I'm gonna start on the 10 meter EVO DLAB, like the one from last year, not the new one. I'm gonna ride on it for like 20 minutes, and after that I'm gonna switch to the new one that Ruben is now riding in the beginning. So let's go. Okay, so I'm on the water and I'm fully stacked on the 10 meter. So let's go and try to go big. The wall is big for 10 meters. The wind is so strong for 10 meter. It's almost undoable. If you have the right kicker, it's okay, but it's quite hard to handle. Let's wait. Guy jumping here. But it's good. Everyone knows what they're doing here, so then it works if people jump. 10 meters. Let's see how it performs. It already feels a bit nicer than the old one. The old one just has too much power. I don't like it, it's pulling all the time. The V-power on this one is already a lot better. Oh, that one was big! That was massive! This one definitely goes higher, but the first EVO DLAB is way more direct, so eventually you could do more tricks probably with this one, but it feels safer when you loop the old EVO DLAB, but this one is just way more above your head at takeoff. This one is definitely my favorite. So I changed the steering lines a little bit. I made them a little bit shorter. Ruben was riding them longer because he didn't like it to have them shorter. But now when I have them shorter, the loop is also a lot better. So I'm definitely liking this one more than the old EVO DLAB for me. So that was it on the EVO DLAB, and now I'm gonna go for a session on my 9-meter Rebel DLAB. I don't have a lot of time because I'm leaving to Dakar tomorrow, so I decided to go for another round on the new EVO DLAB 10 meter. So yeah, let's enjoy the session on this new kite. Watch out for the wind server. Triple back roll contra rodeo. Super hard to ride, and they're gonna run the mega loop challenge here. But if it's super windy, I think you can still go big here. If you get the right speaker, you go big. Okay now, but there's just wind service everywhere, so it's really hard to jump and do a trick. Okay, I'm gonna try a jump to the inside. A big rodeo. It's so gusty, but when you hit the gust, you just get a lot of float. I hope to get a little bit more height on the next ones to the inside, but at least it was a good trick. The backline's a bit shorter, how I like it. The steering pressure in the middle of the bar gets a bit high, so when I just do like a normal board flip trick, it almost gets too high to properly down loop. So you have to depower it a little bit more to make it work. You cannot make the backlines a lot shorter if you like that and when you're doing board tricks with it. It was kind of scary, it was a big gust, but I landed it. I had the good kicker there, but not the gust, unfortunately. If you ride the backline too short on this kite, it stalls a lot. The wind should have only picked up, but it's kind of dropped off a lot now. And I have to stop in a bit because we have to go home, because I leave to Dakar tomorrow, so let's go for the last few jumps. Kind of kickflip. So I hope you guys enjoyed the action on the old EVO DLAB versus the new EVO DLAB, and now we're gonna talk about the review. So let's first talk about the height. So from my experience, I only tried the 10 versus 10, so the other sizes can be a lot different, but this is talking about my experience of the 10 meter versus 10 meter. The new 10 meter was jumping higher in my opinion, but I don't really like the old 10 meter. It's pulling a bit too much for me, and when the wind gets really strong, it just doesn't perform anymore how I want it to perform. And the new 10 meter still got above my head, and I could still get a lot of height out of the kite. So if we're talking about height, the new one is definitely the winner for me. The new one also has a bit more airtime than the old one, because the new one is a lot more at the side of the wind window, and the old one is a lot more in front of you. And if a kite is more at the side of the wind window, it's also more above you when you have it at 12. And when you do the jump, and when you're like coming towards the point where you're gonna do a heli-loop, The new EVO DLAB will be a lot more behind you, so it will have a longer way to do the heli-loop, so it will just give you more airtime, and after the heli-loop it's also going more behind you and to the sides again, and the old EVO DLAB is down looping a lot more in front of you, so the new one definitely has more airtime than the old one. And if we're talking about bar pressure and steering pressure, the new one is also super light like the old one. Only when you're at the end of the jump, you're with your hand in the middle of the bar to pull a heli-loop. It can be a bit heavy to steer in the middle of the bar. Not the bar pressure, but the steering pressure in the middle of the bar can be a bit heavy. That was a bit easier on the old one. And now that we're talking about the heli-loops, what I found difficult on the new one is when you're really trying to do a heli-loop at the end of your jump, and you didn't really do the highest jump, and you didn't do a kite loop. When you do a heli-loop at the end of the jump, sometimes it's going a bit slow and it doesn't really catch you and stops you, so then you can crash the jump. Like with the old one, you could do the heli-loop whenever you wanted and it would still catch you. But this one has kind of a little bit of a delay and it's a bit slower, so if you're doing the heli-loop too late, you can have some trouble with your landing. So yeah, that's one good thing about the old EVO DLAB. Doesn't matter when you heli-loop it, it will always catch you and be above you again in no time. So we already talked about some performance things on the new EVO DLAB, and that's all sounds super good. But when we're talking about the feeling in the bar, so when you do your trick, you want to know where the kite is. But with the new EVO DLAB, it's super hard to feel in the rotations where the kite is. In the loop, it's super hard to feel the kite. The old EVO DLAB, you always knew where it was in the air. There are some better kites out there that you can feel even better, but the old one was way better, so the performance on this one is a lot better, but you cannot really feel where the kite is in the air, so that's a bit of a downside. I could get used to it, but also was first struggling a little bit, but for maybe less advanced people it can be a bit difficult in some tricks when you're doing a lot of rotations, because you cannot really feel super good where the kite is. And one of the reasons that the feedback is less good on the bar than on the old one is because when you make the steering line shorter on the new one and you try to do kite loops on it, it just stalls like a lot in your kite loop. So that doesn't work at all, and when you make them shorter, you can feel the kite quite good, but then it just doesn't work. And with the old one you could make them shorter and it still kind of worked up till some conditions, but at least it didn't stall. And now with this one, doesn't matter the conditions, when you make them a bit shorter on the new one, the kite will stall. When you don't do loops, when you're using the new EVO DLAB for only tricks, no kite loop tricks, then you can make the steering lines a bit shorter. But when you do loops, I don't recommend making them too short, because the kite will stall a lot. So that's a bit of a disadvantage about the new EVO DLAB. And when we're talking about the low end on both of the kites, the old and the new one, I think in the low end the old one is definitely the winner, because it just has a lot more power and it's more in front of the wind window. But it doesn't take a lot more wind for the new EVO DLAB to also start performing really good. So yeah, if you want like a good 10 meter for like the low end, the old one is definitely better. But if you want a kite that's really good in the high end, then you should definitely go for the new EVO DLAB, because the wind range is a lot bigger on the new one. So the low end is probably better on the old EVO DLAB, because it's a lot more in front of you, and just overall the kite has a lot more power. But in the high end I don't like the old EVO DLAB, because when the wind gets too strong, that kite just doesn't really perform anymore. Then you see other people kiting around you, and you have like the expensive kite, and you're trying to do your big tricks, even if you're a rider like me, and at some point the old EVO DLAB, doesn't matter the size, it just stops performing. And that's the good thing about the new EVO DLAB, because it's a lot more at the sides of the wind window, and even when the wind gets a lot stronger, it will still perform. Like the old one is too much in front of you, will pull you too much forward, and it will just only pull when you're riding, and the new one will still give you lift. So yeah, if you're looking for a kite that's better in the high end, the new EVO DLAB is definitely better. The wind speed when I did the testing of the old EVO DLAB 10 meter versus the new EVO DLAB 10 meter was around 25 to 33 knots. And I was super overpowered on the old EVO DLAB. I had like too much power. And on the new EVO DLAB I was still riding quite comfortable, and I could have even handled more wind. So yeah, if you're looking for a kite that's good in the low end, go for the old one, and for the new one it's like super good when the wind gets stronger. It's super good high-end kite. One thing that I really liked about the old EVO DLAB is the turning circle in the loop. It's just a lot faster, the circle is smaller than on the new one, and you can just really trust the loop on the old one. It will never let you down, the old EVO DLAB. But the new one, it's a bit different. The performance is super nice on the kite, but in some loops it loops super good, super fast, catches you super nicely. But in some other loops it can really stall, so you cannot really trust the loop. So that's one thing I didn't really like about the kite, but I think you can also get used to it, to the steering and how you have to take off with the kite. But you can trust the loop a lot more on the old EVO DLAB, but when you have the timing right and everything on the new one and the gust is good, the new one will be way better for sure. But you can just trust the loop more on the old one. One thing that I don't really like about the 10 meter EVO DLAB when you're overpowered, and then I'm talking about like 25 knots, is when you pull the loop is so fast, it's a super fast 10 meter, but you can just lose tension for like half a second or a second. So the canopy loses a bit of tension, and that will get you out of control. I think I also got 1 or 2 clips that I just lost the board in the air, and that was because the kite lost tension, and I'm not used to that. So that's one thing that's not really good, especially when you're doing board flips. When you lose tension, it's just super bad when the board is off your feet and you're flipping it. When you're doing the trick it's okay, but that's a thing I don't like about the old EVO DLAB, and the new one doesn't do that. It will always keep tension. It can be a bit slower sometimes and sometimes a bit faster, but it will keep tension in the loop. But this is mainly a problem with the 10 meter. The smaller sizes don't really have this problem, maybe a little bit, but the 10 meter really has that problem, and the new one didn't. So the new EVO DLAB is slower than the old one, and you would think, okay, that's not good, but it's not really a problem, because the kite is a lot more above you at your takeoff, so you have more time to pull the loop without the kite going under you and you losing tension in your kite. What the new EVO DLAB also does is, after your loop, in the Heli-loop, it will give you a lot more second lift than the old one, because it will travel way more behind you. The only thing is that that can be quite slow, and it's not really in a small turning circle, and it's like a longer loop, and you can lose some control in that, so you can kind of get a wiggle or something in the air or crash your trick because of that, because you lose control in the Heli-loop. The old one, the old EVO DLAB, was a lot easier in the Heli-loop. It will drop you a lot faster. It was heli-looping in front of you, but you would always have control in the Heli-loop. And with the new one, sometimes you can kind of get out of control. Maybe you could see it in a few of my POV clips, probably not a lot, but 1 or 2. That when I pulled the Heli-loop, the kite was above me. I got pulled a lot forward again when the kite got above me, and I was gonna do the second Heli-loop. And that's not always nice, because that will get you a bit out of the control. And the old EVO DLAB is always consistent with the Heli-loop. So that's kind of a downside about the new one, but you can get used to it. But there are kites like the Slingshot NXT for example, that do the same, that fly behind you, but you will keep in control with that kite. And sometimes with this kite you can kind of lose your control a little bit. But that can also be the 10 meter. I didn't try the smaller sizes, so I'm not sure. But with the 10 meter it was like this. So when we're talking about stability from the old versus the new one, I think maybe the stability on the old one was slightly better. But then I'm talking about medium conditions and not like super overpowered conditions. Because with the old EVO DLAB, when I was riding it, I was having a lot of problems with the tip stability. I could fix that by putting the kite on the hard setting, otherwise I would just collapse the tips of the kite even when I was pumping 12 psi in it. And I'm not sure about this kite, but I think when the wind is stronger and I pump a lot in it, I wouldn't really have a problem with the stability with this kite. So when it's in medium conditions, maybe the old one is a bit stiffer in the air, it doesn't really move. And this one can sometimes maybe move a little bit, but I think in strong wind, overall the stability is quite good on the new one. And when we're talking about kite loops and contra loops on the EVO DLABs, the old EVO DLAB was already faster in the contra loop in my opinion than the kite loop. And that didn't really change with the new one, because from what I was feeling, the contra loop was still faster than the kite loop. So that's probably the shape of the kite, I'm not sure, I'm not a kite designer, but that's one thing that I felt on the old and the new one, that the contra loop is better and you can trust the contra loop a little bit more than the kite loop sometimes on the EVO. So the new EVO DLAB is a lot more above you at your takeoff already than the old one. So that also means that the kite has a way better vertical lift than the old EVO DLAB, and I already talked about that in this review. So yeah, the vertical lift is a lot better, so it will really pull you straight up and not too much forward. The old one would pull you also a lot forward and not only up, but this one really pulls you up. And if we're talking about backstall and front stall while flying the kite, I haven't really had any problems with it. Yeah, if I make the steering lines a bit too short, I could get some backstall, but when you just tune the kite right, there should not be any problem with front stall or backstall with the kite. I didn't really notice it. I'm not sure, I only tried it in conditions from like 20 to 30 knots. So maybe when it's under 20 knots, like 15 knots, you can get some problems, but I didn't notice it when I was flying the kite. So like with the old EVO DLAB and now also the new one, you really feel this kite pulling in the harness and not really in the bar. So maybe that can be something that's a bit difficult for some people, that the kite is only pulling in the harness, because they also want to really feel the kite hear the power. And that can give people a little bit more control, but it's just something that you need to get used to. I like it when it's also more in the harness, but not too much. I would like it to also have it a little bit more in the bar, but that's just something you need to get used to, and that shouldn't be a problem. And I already told you guys that I'm not a big fan of the old EVO DLAB. In the 10 meter, but the other sizes of the kite are a lot better. Like I really like the 9 meter in conditions like 25 knots till 30, maybe 35, but 35 could already be too much for the old 9 meter, and I think the new 9 meter would definitely do better in those conditions. And I also like the 8 meter, but sometimes the 8 meter for me was a bit too fast. And I like a kite to be a little bit slower, and that's why I also switched to the Rebel DLAB, and I'm just a way bigger fan of the Rebel DLAB. It's a lot more consistent and it's just easier to feel in the air, and I can trust it a lot better than the EVO DLAB. So I'm a way bigger fan of that kite, but I just didn't like the old EVO DLAB 10 meter, so this is already a big upgrade for me. So if you're looking to buy a kite for progression, and you were already looking at like an EVO, definitely go for the EVO DLAB, the new one, because the EVO DLAB is a lot faster than the SLS one, so that would be way better for progression. And if you just want a kite for everything, like hydrofoiling, free ride, big air, everything, the EVO DLAB is definitely the best option. And if you're only looking at big air, then definitely, in my opinion, go for the Rebel. I haven't tried the 10. I think if you want a 10 that also can loop, the new EVO DLAB is better. But I haven't really tried the 10 meter Rebel yet. But for me, the smaller sizes of the Rebel, I would definitely go for the Rebel DLAB and not for the EVO DLAB, because we were also talking about the bar feeling on the EVO DLAB, and I don't really like the bar feeling on the new one, and the loop is a bit inconsistent. Sometimes it can be super good, but sometimes it also can kind of let you down. And from my experience with the Rebel DLAB is always super consistent, the loop is always the same. It just depends a bit on the gust, but the Kite is always the same. So if you're looking for a kite that you can really trust and feel super good in the air, I would go for the Rebel. And if you are looking for a kite with a bit less yank and a kite for everything, and especially for the light wind, because the EVO DLAB is better in the light wind than the Rebel in my opinion, then go for the EVO. And if you're just looking for a kite that I also like for my big air tricks, go for the Rebel. But the EVO DLAB is a super good high performance all-rounder. So I hope you guys like this review, and if you have any questions, make sure to put them down in the comments and I will make sure to answer the questions. And maybe I will do another review video about the Rebel or something in the future. Just let me know what you guys want, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.